and welcome back to The Boring Show. I'm Emily Fortuna.
And I'm Emily Shack.
Welcome. So, yes, you may have seen Emily on stage with me at Google I.O. couple times now.
I think it's been 3.
Yeah. And I'm super glad that you could join us on The Boring Show as well.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So when we last stopped, Andrew and I were we were working on adding a database so that we could favorite articles, and we sort of had that working. We were running into some issue where the UI wasn't always getting updated with the stories that we were adding, but it seemed like our database was. So the mystery continues. We get to dig into what's going on. First of all, I was thinking about this a little bit, and I think there may be an issue with the stream that we wrote. So if we go over to our favorites file, we have this, we have our class with where we can query the database. And if in our isFavorite, we are investigating the, in our table, trying to select a favorite and then an entry in our favorites table and watch it. And I'm wondering if there's an issue with, like, if our favorite doesn't exist in that table, maybe it's trying to query it, seeing there's nothing, watching on that forever, and then we're filtering, and if there's, like, if we're watching on nothing, maybe it doesn't fire.
So does this work if you were to rewrite it such that we're just watching the full table and then updating based on that, rather than just watching a single row in that table?
We should try.
Let's see.
So, yeah, let's test it out. So, let's see, we want to select the whole table. Watch. And then from that, we want to just filter where our favorite is the ID that we want. So, watch dot where, I think we should just be able to do that. And then convert that list to test if there is at least one. It should be only one, but map. Favorite.id. What is it not happy about?
So I think favorite here would be the full table rather than the individual item.
Okay, so let's call this favorite list. Favorites list. Right. So we want to actually say in that list. Yeah, okay. So how about sorry, you were saying?
Do you think we should map here and then
Yes.
map that list to any entries that might
Favorites,
match our query?
favorites list dot don't we want to actually from that list inspect it, right? Inspect within the list. So yeah, okay, map works. Map, and then inside that list we want to say where favorite.id equals ID, and then
Are you missing a paren at the end?
yes.
I get to be the one who sits here and just scrutinizes all of the code.
Works out.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have, so get rid of, let's just comment this out for, and I think, yeah, filter from that and just are there any that have that?
No. I feel like we could simplify
Yeah,
this.
that's
We've
kind
got,
of
like
wacky.
2 maps.
Okay,
But
so,
I mean, it should work, right?
Yeah,
we can at least use this to test if it works.
sure. Let's see, what would be the better way to do this? It would be to, there's a filter. Okay.
So, can we just check at the end of the where call if the length is greater than 1? Do we need that last map?
Let's see, where that should return a list. Yes, correct. So that dot length. And then, yeah, get rid of this. Oops.
Happens more often than I'd like to admit. The selecting and moving to a different part.
Okay, so yes, that looks a little better. So we're watching the entire table, getting the list of all the entries in that table, filtering to find the ID, and then from that resulting list, it should be only 1. We have greater than 1, whatever, greater than equal to 1. Yeah. Okay. So let's test this to see. I'm going to do a hot restart just because this is like a standalone. This is not Flutter. It's like pure Dart, so it wouldn't bring around the build method. Okay, so now, moment of truth here. All right.
Seems reasonable.
Yes.
Does that get around the issue you were seeing before?
Yes. So let's stick this stream builder back in the expansion tile where we had originally intended it to be, rather than this like weirdo thing above. And just for grins. Oh my gosh. Okay, and I guess, so the real way to test this is we need to, let's stop it and pull it up again, because it should persist across runs. That's the whole point of this like database business. So we will pull it up again. So I think the question for me is, I thought with more I should be able to, we should look and see if that's the expected behavior, because I thought that it should behave this way. Yeah, and if not, then we should file a bug.
Yeah, let me go ahead and look at the more plugin.
Okay, yeah, while it's building.
Is it this one?
Yes.
All right. Let's just take a look here.
And the good news is it does, we are seeing those persist. So we just written the query wrong. Or I actually think that query should work. We'll look at the docs.
Yeah. So I think, this seems to correspond to what we're doing now, which is like looking at the whole table, I think.
There was another page that has like full documentation. Oh, scroll up for a second. Check out the documentation for a more detailed guide. Sure. Writing queries.
Alright.
And let's see. Select blawware watch.
So this one looks like we're watching an individual row like you were doing before.
Yeah.
So if that's supposed to work.
Yeah, so I think the one other way I can test this is, or check this, is I downloaded the repo, and I can look in their tests. Yeah, so if I look in streams test, I just want to see like how they wrote their tests to see if it's like,
if there's a test for that particular
right, yeah,
watching one line in the table,
or anything to indicate this is not supported or whatever. So okay, so fetch when the first listener attaches. Or so just selecting, looks like on users. So that's like the table. This is the table. Or wait, what first? Yeah. Their tests are not amazing. They only test on the table. So, okay, we'll file a bug, and either they can tell us, no, you're using it wrong.
It could be that they don't intend to support this and just might want to be a little more clear about this documentation.
Yeah, because, when I read it, because it literally says it will automatically, whenever the underlying data changes, which to me says, like, anything in the table, but maybe that's wrong. So, so let's file a bug. Do you want to do it on your computer?
Sure. All right.
So scroll up. There's the repository link on the About section above.
Oh, here?
Yeah. Click on that.
All right.
And issues.
Yeah, I wonder if they already have one or if we need to add a new one.
Improve coverage. Unless, let's look at that one. Only tests.
No.
Exactly what we were commenting on. Your coverage could be better.
Okay. No, they're just talking about
in general.
Like, how do we know what our coverage is,
Oh.
I think, rather than...
Oh, interesting.
Oh, but this does kind of indicate there are tests elsewhere.
Okay.
Is there any other directory with...
Let's see, tests. Oh, CDLs. What am I doing? Select test. There's two.
This feature is actually something that would be super useful for me in my day job. I would love if we could do this also.
Oh, nice. Let's see. So, okay, there's more Flutter, more generator, and more. Let's see if there are tests in those. More Flutter. Oops. I can totally type. There's no tests in more Flutter.
Meanwhile, I'm going to start
Sure.
filing an issue just in case we do need it.
Oh, there is a more generator. I'll look in there. Multitasking for the win. They're not testing that thing in their other tests, so I think we can safely.
All right, so what should I say here? I said watching a subset of a table doesn't reliably update with results. Is that
I wonder.
accurate?
Yes, but I wonder if the issue is, like, I could be wrong, but my supposition on what's happening is, like, if we watch for a line that's not, a row in the database that's not there, that's my guess of what the problem is.
And then when it updates, it doesn't update the query, it just...
Right,
like,
because there's
it
nothing there.
It ran the
like,
selection
no.
once to find, this is the section that we're looking at, and then didn't see any section, so it's not updating.
Right. That's my guess. Let me test that a little bit more. More. And then we can. But I would say keep typing that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to send you this query, or you
Sure.
have the query because it's
do I
it's
have the new
checked
one?
in the repo. No, but you have the old one.
Oh, the old
which
one,
is
yeah.
the one that
Okay.
we need.
Yeah.
And I mean, probably don't need to copy that query literally, but like use it to say what we're doing. Okay, so while you do that, I am going to test my theory that this thing is only run. So, hot restart.
Got some markdown code blocking in here.
Excellent.
Yeah, fancy.
People love it when their bug reports are readable.
And when the people filing them have gone through the necessary steps to determine that it is a bug.
Oh, true. Yeah. This is also, I would like to say, I hope best practices for bug filing. I sometimes in my history of working with open source, I've gotten things where it's like, blah doesn't work. And you're like, okay, but
Yeah, we're going to try and give as much context for what we were doing and what we expected.
yeah. So like if you can say, how you got into that situation, what happened, what you think should happen. And so sometimes, bug reports can take a little bit, but the more information you get, the better. But also, I will say, I know I've talked to Eric Siddell about like reporting bugs in the Flutter repo, and sometimes I've encountered things where I'm like, this isn't reproducible, so I don't know how to file a bug. And he's like, file it anyway, because if we have a record of something happening, then if something similar happens, maybe we can put those two together and be like, this is a trend, as opposed to like... So if you see something weird, err on the side of filing it, but the more information you can provide, obviously, the better.
And of course, be polite.
Yes, absolutely.
All
Because we are providing free software for you. Anyway.
We love when you send bugs.
Yes. Okay, so my theory. I will print out whether this is rerunning to check that. So yeah, just to be clear about what I'm doing here to test this, if it's the case that the query isn't behaving the way we expect it won't refire. So I'm just putting a print statement to check if it refires, the builder will run. And so, yes, I should. No, I think that should work. Okay, so. I hit this. Of course, now it works as I expect.
Oh, does it?
Well, I'm gonna do.
Are we finding out this isn't a bug at all?
I'm gonna do a full restart just because I don't really. I'm not sure how hot restart works outside the context of Flutter code. I thought it just like reran everything, but if it's working, I'm like, I don't know. So, I'm just rerunning from this.
Yeah.
From the get-go, just to be.
Yeah, I would expect hot restart would work. Hot reload I wouldn't necessarily, depending on the context.
But now it works. That's why I was like, why did it work before? Okay,
so are we supposed to be seeing?
Okay, there. So I press this. It doesn't do anything. It's causing an exception because you can't. It's like a unique key. It got added to. You can see it. Let's see, Minnesota. Oh my gosh. I need to clear our little favorite thing because it's hard to read. Favorite. Yeah, so we tried to add it. It's already in there, but our UI didn't update, and we didn't see that rebuilding thing, which suggests the query isn't functioning as we expect it to. So yeah. We'll write it, they can say, that's not intended use case. Or, I'll fix that. In either case, like, this is a cool plugin. We just want it to work correctly. Or as awesomely as possible.
Thank you for contributing plugins to our open source ecosystem.
You bet.
We really appreciate it. However, as far as I can tell, the database is updating, but it's not causing. I want to make sure that it's clear that it's not that we've written the UI part wrong without providing too much context.
Right. So I think you should say we suspect it's because there's no favorite with that ID to start with. And here's another way to check that actually. So let me kill this again and restart. But I think another way to test this is now that I have some favorites in there that are, and I'll see if I can remove them. And if that's the case, so I tested the adding one and it was like the UI didn't update. But if I can remove it successfully, then that again suggests that
Okay.
that it's that like starting query or the starting where clause the watcher that's not behaving as we expect. Of course, like, okay, so we got this one. Okay, so it successfully updated. Yeah. Yeah, if it starts
okay.
there.
Okay, so I'm gonna write this a little differently. However, for my use case, the entry I'm watching might not exist before I make the first update.
Mm-hmm.
The behavior I'm seeing is that when
It already
I
exists.
make that first update and add to the table, my UI does not rebuild. Then on all subsequent updates, well, do I have to restart the app before the subsequent updates will work? Does it have to have started with?
No, but it needs to rebuild in some way. So a way to rebuild is like if I scroll down and scroll up, it like scrolls in, or if I go to news stories and come back. That's interesting.
Cool. Hold out for the next book report.
So there's our theory isn't quite perfect, but maybe we can describe what we're seeing and hopefully. So wait, let me check my printout. I'm printing out the entire table, so we should be able to see what's actually there. Is that? Oh, did I delete? I think it still could be what's going on because. Or wait, no. Okay, we're gonna describe it as it is. There's something else going on. It seems to sporadically fire when you watch on a single row. I'm not quite sure, but this is a clear case. There's a little more to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Something like that?
Yeah, looks good. Looks good. And I actually, before I started using this plugin, I was like checking the response on issues and stuff, and the plugin maintainer seems to be quite quick and stuff.
Oh, good. So we may get an update for the next episode.
Yes. Stay tuned. All right. So for now, though, we will go back to watching on the entire table, which is a little disappointing because it's a little less efficient than what I might have hoped, but it
Can
is
you
what
not
it
just do command /
I did not know that.
Like select those 3 rows.
Command
This one.
Oh.
/ Yeah. I did it.
Oh, nice. Thank you, Emily.
I got you.
This is why pair programming is awesome.
We have found so many keyboard shortcuts that the other one didn't know about in prepping for our I/O talks.
True
It's
story.
been really helpful.
True story. All right. So, okay, I can take out my rebuilding debugging. I think I might have had the print statement in here from print everything. Yeah, we can get rid of that.
That's a fun method.
Print the world. Okay. Whew. All right, now we should have like less things spewing in our. Okay, so back to what we were originally intending on doing.
Mm-hmm.
We can favorite things, but the whole idea was we want to have like a favorites page that we can go back to look at, so we can read these favorites later. Question is, UI design, where should we put that?
Yeah, so I could imagine that it could be like a third tab in that bottom tab bar. It could also be some other page that kind of gets pushed over the others, and you trigger that from some other menu. But I'm not a designer.
Me neither.
Designers, super important for your team.
Yeah, so I could see it being, we'd have a third tab at the bottom here. We could have like a sort of the hamburger menu thing where you have like the 3 lines as like a drop down. You could have like it's a little different because these are sort of externally provided, whereas like your favorites is like a personal thing. You could also have like a preference menu. The good thing is,
yeah, I mean, if we think we want to
changes are
add
different.
a preferences menu at some point, maybe we have a bunch of settings or things we could be looking at in some menu, and this could be the first of many.
Yeah, I suppose like you could also theoretically have things like we could check if more does this, but you could have like a maximum database size for like how many articles you're allowed to save, so that your app, like if you're an article hoarder, you're just like saving everything, this app could slowly take over all the storage space on your phone. So that could be
I mean, like,
preference.
kind of your fault at that point. Like, you know what you did. But sure.
I'm just trying to think of settings. Like we could also have offline syncing or something, or what other settings could we set?
I want to see a dark mode.
Ooh, okay. Just because of that, we're having a settings page. Okay, so we will add, let's do a little like hamburger button thing in the top corner.
Okay.
Maybe scooch our little loading indicator over, and then
Yeah, what is the Y right now?
So basically, it's indicating that's, although we also
kinda
have
fun.
this. Yeah. Oh, that's fun. I think Philip was saying that this occasionally happens, that we need to deal with it, but keep going and try again.
It's just kind of flaky. Doesn't always happen.
Yeah. Well, so that was a deserialization error. So we were getting information. So this like pings the Hacker News API.
So,
And
I mean, with this message, it looks like it was getting null, and it tried to serialize it as an article.
right.
So
we were getting
where are we serializing those? Can we check for null?
where we're deserializing. Yeah. So I imagine we should just be able to add that. Deserialize. Is this our code? Build value. No, that's build value. Get article. Here we go.
So in that function, could we check to see if the string is null? And if so, just return null and then expect that from the caller?
Yeah, is iterator. I just want to check to make sure. Where's the iterator? Because I want to make sure that I want to ensure what or know what is null.
Mhm.
If it's the whole string or if it's like a part of the string, a portion in the string, you know? Where's iterator? Tried calling iterator. Oh, object is iterable. Okay.
I want to say that just means that it's trying to iterate on an object, and the object is null. But we're not going to see an explicit call to something called iterator.
Right. Well, we're calling it iterable. So
Yeah.
this is iterator. But I guess what I'm asking is like, is the whole string null or is it that
Mhm.
piece null? And so that's why I want. Well, okay. We can check. Parse article. Let's just have if JSON string is null,
Mm-hmm.
we skip that article because it's garbage. Where's this get called? Find all references. So caching articles. Oh, our test. Really? It's only in. Oh, it's cached. Is that really the only place it's called? I guess so.
So just check if story_res.body is null here, and then don't do anything if it is.
Yeah, well, I just want to see where this is called as article ID. Do we handle this? No, we don't. Thanks, guys. We can say where we can return like null and then filter where not null.
Yeah.
It's kind of a crappy way to do it, but it's what we're gonna do right now. Where article is not equal null. Okay.
And then I think we still need to go into the call to get article and
Yes. Okay, so if res story result dot body is null, then we should. Do we want to throw this error?
Yeah, I mean, now that we're
Just
okay with it being null,
yeah.
then not knowing the history of that error at all.
No, me either. It's so long. Okay, so story res dot body is not equal to null, and so otherwise we're just gonna. Do we want to set it to null?
I don't think
Yeah.
we need to, right?
Yeah, you're right, because it will by default return null if there's nothing there. Okay, I'll do a hot restart just for grins on that. And hopefully we never see that again. Let's see. Great.
We fixed it for sure.
Okay, on to what we were going to do.
Yeah.
Hamburger method. So, I forget what that's called, the hamburger menu. Do you remember? It's like material drop-down menu. Side menu. Flutter, material.
Looks like it's a drawer.
So that's the actual thing. But can you specify the icon? Is that
Oh.
really?
Yeah.
I'm just asking about
You're
the
just looking for the
icon.
icon. Okay.
I mean, but yeah, we can use a drawer. Let's use a drawer.
Cool.
Do the whole thing. Okay, so they just specify like that, and it does everything. Amazing. Okay, so
Yeah, and the drawer can have children.
okay,
Or
great.
one child.
Okay, so drawer. I've never used a drawer. Drawer, and then list view or. Oh,
I mean, at this
see.
point, it's up to us.
Yeah. Well,
We can
yeah,
just
we'll
have,
just
like...
have our one. So we'll have favorites page. Let's just have text to start with. Favorites page, and we'll do something. We'll make that a real thing in a minute. Okay. Why did that not appear? Do you think it's because we have our Y Combinator thing? Let's look where that is.
Yeah, where's that being built?
Let us use the widget inspector. Dev. No. There we go. I haven't used DevTools and VS Code in a while.
And it shows.
Yeah, right? Downloading updates. There we go. Okay, so we want to... Where's my little... Oh, select widget mode. Go to simulator. App bar. Loading info. Loading info.
I think you've transposed the F and the O in your search query.
Oh, thank you. Well, I found it, but... Okay, so loading info, where is that put in the app bar? Oh, okay. Scaffold leading. Can we not have a leading and a drawer at the same time? Is that maybe... I'm gonna make it go away for a second and see what happens. Oh, yeah. Apparently not. That's sad. Well, we have to have it. Maybe I can stick it next to the title or something. Or, like, you know, off to the side of the title. Is that terrible design? We will be sad if we have two things.
I'm just wondering, like...
Too much stuff.
Well, it would be super cool. I bet we can't do it right now. But it'd be super cool if, like, the hamburger menu icon was the same as the Y Combinator menu. And so when you went to the loading thing, it sort of flipped over and showed the Y and then flipped back to the hamburger menu and became...
We could do that with an animated switcher.
Ooh, I've never used one of those.
Basically, it toggles between two different things, two widgets. Let's try it.
Okay.
We'll see what happens. Meanwhile, people at home are like, I just want a favorites page.
The loading info is already doing some animation itself, though, right?
Yes.
So we would need to strip that out or not use that.
Well, I think it'd be cool if we could still swap, have it spin, and then swap back.
Okay.
Do you think? What do you think?
No, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'm excited to find out.
I don't quite know either. We're gonna discover this. Okay, so let us, well, I'll just copy that. Drawer. So right now, that's a thing. It's not what I expected.
What? Oh, yeah, probably we need, like, some container that makes it white or something.
I guess.
Oh.
Why are you not doing this? Oh gosh. Okay. There we go. Wrap with container. Color white. And we'll just make it a height of 300, because that's arbitrary. No, I'm still in... I'm in the select widget mode thing. Tab tools, cancel widget mode. Whew. Okay. Yes, so now... Oh, the favorites page is way up there. Okay, that's not important right now.
Exactly what we wanted to have happen.
Yes. That is entirely what I intended. I guess we need to wrap in a safe area. It's kind of interesting that, like, the drawer has its own, like, it's not using safe area. Anyway.
I mean, it makes sense, like, that you would want full control over everything in there.
Fair enough.
But with great power comes great responsibility.
And great design requirements. Okay, so back to this icon. Let's see, can you specify an icon in drawer? Custom? Like, or... Oh, okay, no, we don't need to do that. All we need to do is, so this, we are listening for whether something is loading or not. It's, with the Y Combinator little animator thing. And so what we can do instead is we can still listen, and if it isn't loading, have display the drawer thing, and if it is...
Is that gonna animate between them?
We can wrap that in an animated switcher. But
Okay.
all of it comes from whether we are loading or not. So I'm going to copy this and go here. And close my parentheses. One more parenthesis. Okay, and while we figure out what we're doing, let's make this not a one-liner. Curses. What have I done? Drawer, container.
I wish there was a plugin that could just say, you have a bunch of parens and brackets that look messed up. Let me just go ahead and match them up
Fix
for you.
them? Yeah. Okay.
That's probably the kind of thing that's like impossible to do, though.
We should work on that for sure. Okay, so container. Do I still need one more? No. Okay. Text. Container. Drawer. Semicolon. Brackets. Do we just delete that? Is that the... Oh.
Cool.
Okay. Phew. Okay. So we are listening for whether it's loading or not. And I think loading info is doing all this checking states right now. What are we doing with loading value notifier is loading. Where's this get called? Oh, so we add a listener. And this returns nothing. It would be nice if this were a stream. I think I had this as a stream and it got changed. So loading tabs counts is an int of the tabs that are loading. I guess. Ugh. Oh wait, okay. So consumer of the provider package, it gets called whenever this value changes. So I think all we need to do is check the value and do something if it's 0 versus greater than 0.
Cool. Sounds good.
So we'll wrap this in animated switcher. Animated switcher. And we will say Boolean is loading. This is kind of repetitive. Loading is greater than 0. Oh. Loading tabs count. What is it? Dot value. Great. Okay. And then animated switcher, you take your child is dependent on, so is loading. If it is, we want that loading info, I think it's called. Yeah, loading info. Loading. This.
Oh, an animated switcher just takes one child rather than the two things that it's switching between?
Yeah, it's a little funky that way. And then I think we need, what is it complaining about? Duration. We need a duration. Let's let's make it
150 milliseconds. 500 milliseconds. Some number. Perfect.
Okay, so half a second. So in theory, now these may have already loaded, so it may not do anything. Although
that one looked like it was.
It looks like it was loading. It didn't do anything. Okay, so let's just for grids, print this out. Print is loading. Oh, wait, no. That works, but we'll also just print the loading value because that's kind of where our source is. And where's our output? Well, those are things. Let's do a hot restart just to like try and clear the cache here. That's great. Uh-oh. Did our error catching go awry? Ooh.
Are we seeing any error messages?
No. Then again, we did delete that throw. That's great. Let's try starting afresh.
We dream too big.
Yeah. Well, all else fails, we did get our stream working, and we have the beginnings of this. And but gosh, okay, look at this. So, animated switcher duration is loading. That all looks reasonable. Okay.
Okay, so that worked, but it didn't show the loading. And are we seeing any prints? Alright, so that's not updating like we think it is.
Yeah, this is not getting... It's not firing. Sigh. Okay. Loading tabs count is clearly not what we think it is. Let's take a look at it. Well, that's an exciting function or class. How
is that just always creating one with nothing built? I mean, what's that 0 feeding into?
Value notifier. So we're saying the starting value is 0. It extends a value notifier, which is just a little thing that holds
but
a
it
value.
will update with a different value.
Yeah, but the question is who's updating it. So find all references. Loading. So passing it in there to a Hacker News tab is loading. So let's look at Hacker News tab. Yeah. Is loading. Where's the constructor to this thing?
The Hacker News tab.
Oh, there we go. Loading tabs count. Final. Oh, here. Okay, refresh.
Why are we notifying the listeners before we change the value?
It's a very good question. Let's move that up. Yes, this seems to... We are notifying it here, too,
Also,
though.
yeah, I'm confused about why there are 2 notify listener calls in here.
That feels very
It feels like maybe we
incorrect.
just need to get rid of the first one.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because everything else is changing.
Okay. So, I'm gonna do a hot restart again to, like, blow away my caching. It's still not updating. And I'm not getting a print statement. Grrr.
Oh. Well... Now, I'm noticing that we're
Oh.
incrementing and decrementing it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, do we need to be notifying listeners to every change?
I've never used notify listeners multiple times in a
Yeah.
single function.
But I guess since it's asynchronous, kind of makes sense. Like, if we do it when it's up and then again when it's down. I'm wondering if we need to, like, move that call below the decrement of it and then also have another one that's right after it's been incremented.
Yeah, so the way it was originally,
Feels strange though.
it was like this. We set loading to true. Note, but wouldn't you put it? Oh. Whoa. Why wouldn't you put this below that one and then this below that?
That's what I'm wondering.
Let's try that. Let's do a hot restart. Oh, fun things. Failed host lookup. Good grief. So we're getting bad information there. Grumble, grumble. Interesting that let's see, socket exception. So we need to, instead of like just checking for the 200, we need to do a try. On socket exception. And I want to do on socket exception or if the status code is not good, but I don't know that we can do that. We could throw another socket exception. That seems really bad or dumb though. Fine. I'll just. Can we make this like a? Let's make this a function. The error function. And we'll just say on socket exception error, and if we're oh gosh, okay. I don't like that code, but
No. It's also not really the kind of thing that we are gonna know if it's working.
right. But okay. So we changed some stuff. Let me take out my drawer thing to see if when I move those notify listeners it still works as we were seeing it before.
Okay.
And then we can, I know we're running out of time a little bit, so I want to, but we can at least make some progress. So let's cut this, or I guess we'll leave it because we can follow up on the bug report.
Mm-hmm.
I will just, let's command backslash for that. Okay, and hot restart again. What have I done? Oh, I didn't comment that out too. Whew.
So we're still
I
seeing
still have a drawer.
Is it? Wait, where are you building the Y Combinator thing? It's under this drawer argument. Is that a problem?
I thought it should be okay, but okay, let's.
What if we were to put that under the leading
like
argument? Because I'm wondering if leading is just a way to have something there that can do
Yeah.
anything, and we could have a drawer widget that builds there, and then maybe that's the same kind of thing.
True.
Maybe that's why it hasn't been working.
But why is drawer funky? We should read the documentation.
Yeah.
Okay, so that works as it animates as we expected when you that first time.
Okay.
Because it's loaded.
So
Let's take a quick. So I know we are running short on time. Let's take a quick look at the drawer documentation, and we can.
I actually have it open.
Perfect. We can plan for what we're gonna do next time. But
Okay.
let's see. 2 material design.
Oh, okay, a drawer class. No. List tile. Interesting. Oh, so this expects a lot about what its children are. Though it may be that it works without those.
Yeah.
And then there's scaffold.drawer, which is what we're using. So, a little hard to say what scaffold is expecting about what's behind there. But if you can use scaffold state.open drawer to open it, then that must be at least something that is openable. I think it might be imposing a drawer widget in some way.
Oh, so we'll do one more thing. Let's make this a leading.
Right.
Yeah, which is what you were saying. How do I undo? Is it this?
It's the same one, same command.
Look at that. Okay.
It just toggles between them. And then I think if you have some comments and some not in the block, then it adds another comment to everything.
Yes, I saw that before. Okay, so let's make this leading. It doesn't like that because...
Have you already defined leading? Oh. Is this not inside the scaffold?
That might be the reason why. Let's see. Leading. Oh, it's supposed to be inside app bar. Well, that's a good start. I'm a little scared about doing this, but here we go. Leading.
Oh. Okay.
That's a thing.
So what did we expect to be there?
Oh, wow. Okay, so George's doing a lot under the covers. So because it is not loading, it is showing us a drawer. But there's something about Scaffold that knows when to put the drawer thing. I think Scaffold must be like hard coding that little hamburger menu, because this is showing us literally the drawer.
Yeah. I wonder if what we need is to have this be like an icon button or something. And then when you press it, we do the drawer operations manually.
We should... Okay, so let's just put a little comments as like a to-do. But
Can we see if at least the loading thing is working?
So let's do a refresh. Or restart.
It was going to be so good. We're printing a bunch of ones here, though.
Yeah.
So are we not updating when it gets back to 0?
Oh, maybe... Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe my thing is wrong. Although I would think it should be... It's only 1.
Did it ever print like a 2 up above?
No. It's only that.
Oh.
It never printed 2, never printed 0. Okay, so to-dos. We're gonna have... Let's... To-do. Loading value. Why is it never not 1? And then make an separate to-do.
And I mean, interestingly enough, it did show the drawer before we hot restarted. So at some point that value was 0.
But it wasn't being notified.
I'm wondering if we're not notifying about the change back to 0.
And yet we set that thing again. Where was that? That was in... Change the value. This is a question for Philip. He is the...
Yeah, I want to understand this refresh function better. If there's some reason that the notify listeners were where they were.
Yeah.
We have 2 of them.
Okay, so make an icon button.
That opens up a drawer?
That opens a drawer because Scaffold hard codes drawer behavior. Okay. And
then make a whole favorites page.
yes.
It's maybe a couple episodes out.
We've got our work cut out for
Yeah.
us. All right. So, thank you so much. In summary, what we did was we cleaned up our... Oh, look, the favorites page is there again.
Great. Did it when? Did you
When
like...
I saved and it hot reloaded because I guess the value is 0. It's not being... So that value notifier is functioning strangely. It's not notifying every single...
Yeah.
I think it's... I wonder if that notify listeners is getting, like, optimized out so it gets called... They're getting, like, compressed or something.
Well, but you would think that the second one then would be
Yeah.
the one that takes precedence.
Okay, wait.
Right.
I'm going to test one more thing. I keep trying to wrap this up. All right, let's move it back to where it was. Let me... get diff. Or get status.
I mean, they were both just moved right above where they are, I think.
I know, I just want to check because, like, I don't trust. I don't trust myself.
I do have the code open on my machine.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's up one line,
Okay.
each one. So, Hacker News API X. Okay, let's do a hot restart. Okay. Okay, so it's the notifications is not what we think. Other trick. So I can see get blame. Oops, I copy pasted. So we know who to ask.
It's like a pretty clear filler.
Listeners. Yeah. All right, Philip, we've got some questions for you. So, in summary, we fixed up the database stream.
We filed that bug.
Yes, we filed a bug. We delved into drawers and learned a little bit more about how they work. We got a little too tricky for our own selves.
We may have ended with more questions than answers.
But that just gives you something to look forward to for next episode. Yeah, so, and in theory, what we want to do is we'll have this drawer that can swap between the little 3 lines for a drop-down menu and the Y Combinator thing. But the loading tabs count was not doing what we expected, so we need to investigate some more. So stay tuned on this exciting cliffhanger ending. There will be more to come.
Thanks for
See you
watching.
next time.